Good day. My name is Arianti Gunawan. Today, I'd like to present a paper entitled Classification of Indonesian Entrepreneurs. This paper is dedicated to Mr. Oni Bibin Bintoro for my statistic exam. First of all, let's talk about the introduction of this paper. Apparently, there is an increasing number of demands in the market which seeks for a more eco-friendly yet socially responsible products and/or services. Besides, more benefits for the business and the security of its long-term competitiveness can be achieved through sustainability. It comes from Strandberg Consulting 2009. Now, this is the current situation in Indonesia. Currently, Indonesia has low competitive advantages compared to other nations in the neighborhood, said Jelani et al. In 2000. On the top right picture, there is the motorcycle industry. The bottom left to the right, textile industry, cigarette industry, and shoes industry, respectively. Now let's move on to the next slide. This is a model proposed by Tylee in 2007. This model explained that all entrepreneurial orientation will have goals to be sustainable in all aspects and form together in the highest category of entrepreneurship, which is sustainable entrepreneurship. According to Ricom-Huet and Dave Raymond in 2011, there are 4 types of entrepreneurs. The first is regular entrepreneurs, which were entrepreneurs who have economically sustainable orientation. Second is social entrepreneurs, which were entrepreneurs who have socially sustainable orientation. Third is eco or green entrepreneurs, which were entrepreneurs who have environmentally sustainable orientation, whilst the fourth is sustainable entrepreneurs, which has the combination of the three of them, which are economically, socially, and environmentally sustainable orientation. Now this is the slide. This slide shows the previous research on the 4 types of entrepreneur. And this is the result of a study on entrepreneurship motivation by Swarzak in 2003. Now let's move on to the methodology of the study. On the research questions, we have first, how many clusters will the respondents fall into? Second is, which cluster has the highest number of respondents, and what are their main motivations in being an entrepreneur? The focus of this study were classification of Indonesian entrepreneurs based on their orientation of sustainability and entrepreneurship motivations. This study used online survey from quicksurvey.com to obtain the data. And the sample of this study were Indonesian entrepreneurs. For the analysis, this study used cluster analysis using SPSS, where cluster analysis is grouping objects such as respondents, products, firms, variables, etc., so that each object is similar to the other object in the cluster and different from objects in all the other clusters. This statement belongs to Black et al. In 2010. Now the steps in cluster analysis consist of 4 steps. The first one is select the variables. Second is determine if clusters exist. Third is decide how many clusters to use. And fourth is to describe the characteristics of the derived clusters using demographics, psychographics, etc. This slide shows the result by SPSS regarding the number of cases in each cluster and the distance between final cluster centers. The first table shows the number of cases in each clusters. The distribution of cases in each cluster showed that cluster 2 and 3, which are social entrepreneurship and eco-entrepreneurship, has the highest number of respondents. They have the equal amount of cases, which are 14, followed by cluster 4, which represented sustainable entrepreneurs, 4 cases, and cluster 1, which are regular entrepreneurs, is represented by 3 cases. Therefore, out of 35 cases, more than half of the respondents were social entrepreneurs and ecopreneurs. On the next table, there is numbers on the distance between final cluster centers. The table shows the distance between the 4 clusters. Cluster 1 to 2, the distance is 5.245. Cluster 1 to 3 is 4.544. Cluster 1 to 4 is 6.101. Cluster 2 to 3 is 4.917. Cluster 2 to 4 is 889. And the cluster 3 to 4 is 5.431. This distance showed how far they were located in the clustering graphic. As for the entrepreneurship motivations, this table shows that the top 3 reasons in being an entrepreneur were to increase my income, second is because of passion, and third is to be my own boss. While for the motivations regarding the types of entrepreneurs, there were a significant amount of respondents chose to improve the quality of people and to get the highest economic profits as the main motivations, with 17 and 13 respondents respectively. Therefore, it can be concluded that most of Indonesian entrepreneurs were classified as social and eco-entrepreneurship, and most selected motivations of entrepreneurships were to increase income and to improve the quality of people. The results also indicated inconsistency among the respondents in answering the questions and classifying themselves in the business. The reason for this phenomenon is probably due to the lack of knowledge in sustainability concept and less practical action has been done by the entrepreneurs. As for the limitations and future study of this research, first, this study needs bigger sample size. Second, more distinguishing indicators will be very helpful for the entrepreneurs in answering the questions. And third is to conduct interviews with the respondents. For the future study, it is suggested that adding more statistical analysis to see the correlation between the variables of entrepreneurship classification and motivations supported with qualitative analysis would create a comprehensive, in-depth study. These were the references used for this study. And last but not least, I'd like to say that sustainability is in your hand. This is the end of my presentation, so thank you very much.